Let's peep some of those different skins. Silver Hand Yrel. Oh my god. So here's her her Harley Quinn like knockoff, because the mallet. Get it? Very clever. It's okay. It's an okay looking skin. I think the face looks kind of weird, but it's cool for what it is. So I'm gonna just go with the basic.
Faith is my mirror, but we stand against the darkness.
Yeah, I know all that. I know all about it. What do we got for announcers?
Bienvenidos a la
El Guapo. Okay. So
The time has come.
she's an
Prepare
announcer
for
as well. That's cool. I'm gonna use El Guapo.
Do your worst.
Let's see how she plays the game with others. Vindication. Restore health damage enemies. Swing Yrel's hammer. Avenging Wrath. I have no friends. Well, it's already been 30 seconds, so you lied to me. You've already lied to me. So, let's just wait and see how this goes. Alright, I don't want to wait all day. I got other stuff to do. As do we all. So let's just jump in here and see how it goes. Check on my sound, check on OBS. Alright, back to Alterac Pass. Prison camps, cavalry generals. You already know what time it is, son. AV time. It does seem to be a pretty quick map. I mean, yes, it's all bots that I'm playing with, so you can probably double that for a good human match, but 20 minutes, this does seem to go a lot faster than, what is it, AV of old, which was terrible. Okay, the Vindication. Well, I did want to know how this would work with quick cast. And it works just fine. So she's kind of got this Kael'thas thing, where like her trait or whatever activates to empower her other abilities, which is cool. Heals, communications radius. Let's do armor. Oh, I'm sorry. So here's what I don't like, is that she can't attack while her abilities are charging, which I feel makes her a little weak. It's definitely going to lower that damage output. So maybe there's just some strategies here that I'm not seeing yet, but she's not a bruiser, which if you play World of Warcraft, that's not really keeping with the way that paladins play. I mean, it depends on like the patch and everything, obviously, but generally pally tanks have been pretty hard hitters for a while now. So also the fact that like she has no like shield and she's clearly in retribution gear. These are, you know, little quibbles, but at the same time it's like, you know, I think it's worth mentioning. Okay, yeah, see, I can't do anything to the butcher. Like, you can move while you cast your abilities, which is cool, but you can't do much damage. I feel like, unless her game steps up significantly later, I feel like she's just not a super... Yeah, you're gonna rely on your teammates for a lot of your damage for this. So, in and of itself, not a bad thing, but it's
We do not fear you. The light will protect us.
at least I can target minions, so that's kind of cool. So, she's got some like ally targeting abilities, but honestly, like I can't go. Not that she should be able to go toe to toe like 100% with the Butcher, but she can't do anything to him. I mean, and he's fairly beefy for an assassin, but you know, at the same time, it's like, come on, really? So, first impressions thus far, not super excited. I mean, just the fact that like I'm getting completely rocked by like a Butcher robot, because I just can't damage him. Yeah. Auto attack does some damage, I mean, so it's not worthless, but it's not very much. I would like to see her Righteous Hammer stun if it knocks you into a... Okay, I'm gonna die. Yeah. What's the cooldown on this? 10 seconds. So the Divine Purpose, I think, is going to be the only thing that really gives her any kind of edge. But her auto attack is slow. I mean, it hits okay, but it's not like a heavy hitter. You know, otherwise her damage output is minimal. But the problem with that is, like, her CC is also not super great. So far, I'm not super impressed. We'll see, kind of. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, since her abilities are channels, she can be pretty easily interrupted by even the shortest stun stops her ability from. Yeah. So, I mean, instant matting is cool.
I will fight until the end. The light will protect us.
Yeah, I would like to see her her knockback do a stun if it hits a wall. I mean, I know it's not the most original talent, but I think that it would add a lot of utility to her toolkit. Because right now, I feel like it's a little lacking, honestly. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely, you're going to be using her Divine Purpose a lot, because it's the only thing that makes her, like, viable as any kind of, like, in her role. But she's kind of fun. Like, I enjoy the way that she plays so far. But what I am disappointed about is kind of what feels like a lack of utility. I mean, I really like that she can jump in and push, but she feels very underpowered on her own, very underwhelming, which is, I mean, it's its own thing, you know. If you want like a powerful tank that needs to be paired with somebody, like Joanna's a good example, you know, on her own, she's just sort of, she just never dies. See, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about, like one little stun and it's like, okay, well, and I get it, you want to, okay. So at maximum charge it stuns people. I would like to see that also include what is it? See, because here's my problem with that. Maximum charge it stuns, but, you know, for one, the whole thing is it knocks them backwards, so it's really only useful for pushing into your team, or I guess like as an escape, except if any kind of stun or interrupt, like, alright, well your ability's on cooldown.
The Alliance is once again.
Let's try Sacred Gown. I've always liked Consecration as an ability for Paladins. I mean, the fact that she wields a two-handed weapon, and again, this is a lore thing, I get that. But I think it's important because this is a game that's literally built on Blizzard lore. That's the whole point of the game. So, no sword and shield is kind of weird, you know, for what it is. My other complaint is that it just seems like her toolkit it's decent, and I can see it being useful in like a more competitive environment, but if you want to play a quick match, like, you're not going to get a lot of, it's going to take some work to master that, you know, and you're going to rely on your teammates for a lot of your effectiveness, which, I mean, it's cool, it encourages team play, except unless you've ever actually played a quick match, then you know, it's like, well, okay, that'd be nice, but I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Should have used my R. But I mean, you know what that actually means too. It's like, well, you know, your teammates can help you. It's like, yeah, they can, and it'd be nice if they did. Oh, cool. They just channel it down on the quick.
Now let's keep it there.
Yeah, so I can honestly say that this is it's interesting, you know. I kind of like her, but at the same time, like, I just don't enjoy all of her toolkit. I don't like that she can't attack and channel. I feel like it limits her quite a bit in ways that she doesn't necessarily need to be limited, because it's not like her power is like insane, you know what I mean? Yeah. This not being able to attack while channeling, it's like, so you have no damage output while you're channeling, and unless your abilities are charged up to like max channel, it's sort of like you're going to get some effect, but the majority of the good effect comes when it's charged all the way up. You know, which makes sense, but again, you're kind of left with this thing where it's like, well, it has to be charged all the way up. Okay. Well, their cavalry got here before ours did. Unfortunate. So she's got some wave clear. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Just to be totally honest. Yeah, see, it's like, alright, well. $224. 3 hits for like a minion kill. You know, she doesn't attack very fast. It's can't knock those back. Good to know. Yeah, so that's definitely a thing for me, is the lack of auto attack when she's using her charging her stuff, and it's like, since she is low basic damage, you know what I mean? She's slow, she hits okay, but it's not that hard. It's like, alright, well, if all my time is spent doing this, she's not very viable as a solo hero, and that's my problem. Like, not that every hero needs to be played solo, but again, like on my own, if I'm clearing a wave, all I can really do is push minions around and then slowly auto attack them to death. Her toolkit just doesn't feel very dynamic, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, well, that's not really the right way to say it. It does feel dynamic, but it doesn't feel like, man, like this is really cool. I feel powerful playing her. I feel like
We will go no further.
she has a lot of potential to be a very good hero with other people. You know, I could see in team fights her having ability, except, you know, you kind of have to talent into some of these better effects that, you know, it's like, yeah, it'd be great if you had time to jump behind the enemy with your Avenging Wrath and then charge up a Righteous Hammer to hit him,
My faith drives.
but you still run into that same issue. It's like, that's going to take time. So, you know what I mean? And it's not a long cast, but it's enough for somebody to get out of the way or for them to scatter, which is what I would do. You know? And then Silence, she's like... she's got some okay escape. But it feels like... yeah, see? Like waiting for that to charge up, you just get crushed. So, and I mean, you can dive behind it, use Divine Purpose, but again, that means charging up your Avenging Wrath, which telegraphs. So, and while you're doing all this, you're still not auto-attacking. Like these are cool talents here. Let's say Righteous Hammer reduces armor. That's a good one. But you got to be level 16 to get that. You know what I mean? So while she has some good utility, I can say like she's cool. And from a lore point, I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's nice that we have a Draenei in the game, you know, because there weren't any of those. It's like, okay, well that's cool, except Jesus. Dude, this butcher is going hammy. This computer butcher is going hammy, I might add. So... it just completely shut down, so... I mean, it's not like you should be able to dive into the enemy team and survive. You're not Diablo, you know. But that's a good example of how to make a tank fun. It's like, he doesn't do the most damage, but he's got a lot of utility as far as attack and crowd control. Hers, I feel like it relies on them not paying attention to you too much, and that's a bad way to win fights. Because it's like, okay, well, if they don't pay attention and like they're not on top of their game, that's fine. But if they are, then I mean, all it takes is one guy with a good interrupt. You know what I mean? Or like a stun, like Garrosh. You know what I mean? All he has to do is hit you once. You know, like all of a sudden you're on cooldown. You know, with none of that ability. Dude, Jesus. I think we're gonna lose this match. Yeah, they do. Yeah, so he plays just like the, what is it? And you can see how powerful this combo is. Wow. I mean, they're already marching on our guy, so... and he's got 40 armor. But I don't feel like that's going to matter too much because they're bombing on him. It doesn't look like Drekthar does too much damage. I wonder if he can be taunted by like Varian and stuff. That's a good question. Cool. Cool. I will say, big fan of the new victory and defeat screens. I think they're awesome. Big fan of the El Guapo announcer for obvious reasons. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about her. I think that she's okay, but I also think that she has some work to do before she gets to be something that I would want to play regularly. I think she just relies on the other team not paying attention too much, and that's a bad characteristic in a hero. Because it makes you're counting on the other team to be inattentive instead of you playing well. And yes, there's some you can control for, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of her toolkit relies on them not just shutting you down when you start to channel. You can attack during your channels. All of your abilities are channels. Stop! All of your abilities are channels, so you can't really do anything about that. I mean, you can use your D, but again, 7-second, 10-second cooldown, whatever it is, doesn't really matter because there's a cooldown on it. And in a team fight, maybe 2, you know? So you're going to have to make that tactical decision. Do you use it for your lead? Do you use it for, you know, probably not your heal because you don't do enough damage with it to justify it, and you don't really honestly heal enough with it to justify it either over your knockback, over your Avenging Wrath to slow and to close. But it kind of raises the question of, like, if you close with them, now what? Well, you got to channel your knockback to stun them, or even just to knock them back like a decent amount. But you know, that opens you up to CC, and while you can retarget it quickly, it's still not instant. So if somebody has like a quick escape, like a hop or something like Dwarf Toss, it leaves you vulnerable, and it can waste your cooldown, which then again leaves you vulnerable. So I feel like she has a lot of big security holes for a tank, and I think that they need to do a lot more to address those. That said, I mean, overall I like her. She's pretty fun to play. I'd just like to see her damage or her utility increased, and I really want you to be able to knock heroes into walls and stun them like Diablo. Maybe that's just me, maybe that's because I like to slam people into walls, but I think that just makes sense. That just makes sense to me. You know, it's already a given kind of ability. Instead of that way, you don't necessarily have to always channel it, and it gives more meaning to your positioning as well. So, my 2 cents on that. Anyway, this has been a special edition video, whatever you want to call, quick review of the Alterac Pass map and of Yrel, the new hero for Heroes of the Storm. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And I will see you in the Nexus.